Hello everyone, welcome back to our intro to fly tying series, and here we've got the final pattern of the three. This is a Marabou style blood leech. It's an awesome little pattern and is a fairly straightforward tie, but we'll learn a couple more skills with this one. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I've got the hook and the vise along with a orange bead, and I've got my black thread, and same kind of idea here. We're going to get tied in right behind the bead like we have in the other videos. Now when I'm tying leeches like this, I will bring my tie in and just cover up the whole hook shank, and that's what we call kind of dressing the hook. And we're going to tie some marabou in along this shank. So some hooks can be a little bit slippery. So by just dressing the hook with thread, you just give your material something to kind of grip onto, and they don't slide all around on you. So I'm just going to, I've basically taken a marabou feather here, and I don't know if you'll see that, but this was along the side of the feather, and I just peel all that off. And then from there, all I'm going to do is grab it with my other hand, and now I've kind of got it somewhat gathered there, and then just roll it so that I can get it so that it looks something like that. From there, I'm going to get a rough measurement. We will pinch this tail to length, but I kind of want something like that. So now I'll just change hands, and then I'm going to come in with my scissors and just trim that flush. So now I've got something that looks like this. So now I'll give my bobbin a counterclockwise spin. So we talked about that in the previous videos. That's going to make tying in this marabou a little bit easier, because I'm going to lay it just by the bead, lift my thread up. My thread is going to go right over top of that, and then I can give it a pull down, and then I'll wrap forward, and all that excess disappears. And now I've got my marabou tied in, and then I'm just going to keep it somewhat gathered together, and just with nice smooth wraps side by side, touching turns, go back into that hook bend, and then I'll come back up again right behind the bead. So now I've got my tail tied in, and this tail is too long, so I'm not going to use my scissors to cut my leech tails. It cuts them off too blunt, and they don't really look as lifelike as they can in the water. So I just want this to be maybe 1.5 times the length of the shank, or about the length of the shank. So, you know, I'm going to want it somewhere around here. So that's about the length I want. I'll just come in here and pinch this, and then pinch that right off, and you can see it gives a nice kind of feathered look there, and it'll come down to a nice fine point in the water. So now that we've got our tail tied in, the next step is back to the red wire. And so with this wire, we'll tuck it in alongside the shank, and then wrap backwards towards that tail. And once we're right at the tail, we can just stop there. So now we're going to do some dubbing, and there's a bunch of different ways to dub leeches. You can do dubbing loops, that kind of thing. To get started, all I recommend is just twisting the dubbing onto the thread. So I take just a little bit of dubbing, and I come in here, and I'm just going to spin. You can see I'm not going back and forth like this. I'm just spinning in one direction. So I'll grab it, twist, let go, grab, twist, let go, and do that until, I don't know how much of that you can see, but I've got basically a rope of dubbing on my thread. And then all you have to do is just wind this up the body, nice and even, kind of like so. And I got lucky there, I had just the right amount, but if you tie enough, then you'll learn those little tricks. And then from there, we're going to counter rib the fly. So this will protect some of the dubbing, and also give the fly some segmentation. So much like we did on that pheasant tail, we're just going to do nice even open wraps right up to behind the bead, and then we'll go ahead and get that wire tied off with some wraps over top and some wraps in front, and then helicopter it out of there, kind of like so. Now, if you feel like you've got enough dubbing, then you can whip finish right here. I've got a little bit of a gap there, so I'm just going to take a small amount of dubbing, spin it onto the thread like I did before, and then just wind a little bit more right behind that bead just to fill that gap in. And now from here we can go ahead and whip finish. So come in with the whip finisher like so, and then if you want to glue your flies or your leeches like this especially, rather than trying to take the glue and dab it down in here, just take the glue and put some on your thread. And then, so if I have glue on this much of my thread and I give 1, 2, 3 wraps, then I can come in and put one more whip finish on top of that glue, seat it, and then trim out my excess, and that fly is going to last a very long time. So you can brush these out when you're done. So I've got this fancy dubbing brush, but really all you need is a popsicle stick with a little piece of Velcro glued on the end of it. And then you can come in here, and all we want to do is tease out some of these dubbing fibers. So I just kind of look to mess that up a little bit and get those fibers coming out. This is what's going to kind of pulse and move in the water and grab some fish's attention. So we can brush that out just a little bit, sweep everything back, and now you have an awesome dubbed Marabou Leech ready to catch trout all over the interior. So that's all there is to that one. I hope this you guys enjoyed taking the course, and I hope these videos helped you with some practice afterwards. Of course, I'm always in the shop, so anytime you need help or have questions, stop by, give me a call. We're happy to help you as you continue down your tying path and look to expand your skills into new patterns. So don't be shy, come see us. We're happy to look after you, and I hope this was helped with the learning curve a little bit. Thanks very much, and we'll see you guys in the shop.